Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce the 47th governor of the great state of Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Now, Governor Sanders, give you a little history, is the first woman to serve as the governor of Arkansas, bringing with her lifetime of public service and leadership. Now, before becoming governor, she made history as the White House press secretary, where she was known for her strength, resilience, and commitment to service. Since taking office, Governor Sanders has worked to expand educational opportunities, to strengthen the economy, and ensure that Arkansas is a place where families can thrive. Through her leadership, she continues to chart a bold vision for the future of our state. Rooted in conservative values and commitment to hard work and a passion for the people of the state of Arkansas, please stand and join me in welcoming the 47th governor of the state of Arkansas, the Honorable Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Good morning. Can we give a big round of applause to this group behind us who's doing an amazing job and doing it in the rain? So, you guys grab your seats. I promise I'll be fast, hopefully, so we can get them out of the rain and dry it off here quickly. But I want to say thank you for being here and extend a warm welcome to everyone who has traveled here from out of Arkansas. We are so excited for this event to take place here in our state. And I want to give a special thank you to our National Martin Luther King Jr. Commission directors who have come from New Mexico, Oklahoma, Nevada, Florida, and Ohio. And so we are so glad that you are here in our state for this event. And I want to give a special thanks to our Arkansas friends here in the audience, including members of the Arkansas Minority Health Commission, the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission, and many of our leaders and state legislators from around Arkansas. And of course, yes, we'll clap for all of them, absolutely. And I, of course, want to thank my good friend who is doing such an amazing job. Deshaun, you are doing great work leading the Arkansas MLK Junior Commission, and I know how proud we are that our city was chosen to host this year's national conference. And I think that's a huge testament to your leadership and the great work that you and your team are doing. In Little Rock, we're proud of our civil rights history. Just recently, our state placed 2 new statues in our nation's capital to represent the best of Arkansas. Those 2 people, one was Johnny Cash and the other is civil rights hero Daisy Gatson Bates. I was lucky enough to be there for the unveiling of Bates' statue. And I think that everyone who had the opportunity to attend, and even those who watched online and weren't able to attend in person, would say that there were 2 major highlights from that event. The first, and probably one of the most powerful musical experiences I've ever witnessed or heard, was the singing of alumni from the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff and Philander Smith College, 2 of our state's HBCUs that came together and shared what could only be described as pure magic there in the halls of the Capitol. The second was the high school students that were brought to the Capitol by the Arkansas MLK Commission. Boys and girls who directly benefit from the equal education that Daisy Gatson Bates fought so hard to achieve, and were who inspired to carry on her work and her legacy. Our state's commission lives out her legacy of helping serve others. They organize food and school supply distributions. They host community events, and they educate our young people on the many civil rights heroes who are lucky enough to call Arkansas home. But we also know that civil rights history doesn't just belong in textbooks. It's an active, ongoing effort in our state and around the country to continue to build the fight for equality for our students. I'm reminded by a story that my dad, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, likes to tell. In 1980, my dad became a pastor in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. the first town that I ever had the opportunity to call home. In addition to serving as the pastor, my dad had also started a local Christian radio broadcast. When my dad took over the pulpit at Emmanuel Baptist Church in Pine Bluff, it was still an all-white congregation. But one day, a young black man heard one of the sermons on my dad's radio show and called and asked if he could attend church with him. My dad announced his plans to welcome this young man to the congregation. Some of the people in the congregation refused to let the man even sit in the pews. But my dad laid out an ultimatum. Either you greet this young man like a brother in Christ, or I will quit and leave the church. The young man not only joined my dad for worship that Sunday, but continued to be part of that church for decades until its closing. And for all of its years of operation after that, Emmanuel Baptist welcomed anyone into their doors. I was lucky to be raised by a man who knew that we were all made in God's image, and he wasn't afraid to say so. Later, when I was a student at Little Rock Central High, my dad joined then President Bill Clinton to ceremonially open the doors of the school to the Little Rock Nine, doors that 40 years prior to that had been closed to them because they were black. Today, those children who were once barred from the schoolhouse are now heroes memorialized in bronze at our State House. I met many lifelong friends and mentors while I was at Central, and I'm proud to say that one of them is being honored here today with the Lifetime Achievement in Education Award. I've known Dr. Linda Phillips Johnson since I was a sophomore in high school. She was actually my school counselor. And I think that enough time has probably passed and the statute of limitations has run out that I can say that I often spent time visiting in her office so that I could skip class. But it turns out it was time well spent because Linda loves her students and loved that her office was a place that we looked forward to going to connect and spend time with her. In fact, she's so dedicated to her students, she still reaches out and texts me several times a week. It's usually to tell me something she wants me to do, thinks I should do better, or to brag on her 2 adult sons who she regularly gives me updates on. But she's the exact type of person that we need in our schools and talking to our students, which is why my dad appointed her to the Arkansas Higher Education Commission and why I was proud to appoint her to the Arkansas Black History Commission. I'm so glad that she's being honored here today and that I have the chance to join in the celebration to do exactly that. Congratulations, Dr. Johnson. I also want to recognize Reverend Jeff Metters, the recipient of the 2025 Community Advocate Award. And I want to thank Tyson Foods for their work to supply this event and so many others with great food and help every time our state needs assistance. We have a lot to be proud of as Arkansans. Our nationally famous champions like Daisy Bates, as well as our local leaders like Dr. Johnson and Reverend Metters. Today is a day to recognize that history, to honor those heroes, and more than anything, to recommit ourselves to the principles of equality that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. worked so hard to achieve. Thank you again for honoring us with your presence here in Little Rock and for your commitment to making our country just a little bit better every day. Thank you so much, and Deshaun, thank you for your leadership once again. God bless.